Award-winning content creator Mihlali Ndamase and her boyfriend Leeroy Sidambe have been at the center of a social media storm since Sunday afternoon after Mihlali posted cryptic photos showing bruises on her upper lip, under eye, and her forehead. The images alluded to allegations of abuse suffered by Mihlali at the hands of Leeroy. Now, if you know the history of Mihlali and Leeroy's relationship and the controversy surrounding how it started, then you're probably one of those people who are dying to say, I told you so. It will end in tears. But if we're being honest, no one deserves to be on the receiving end of abuse, whether physical or emotional, regardless of how you feel about their personal choices. Leeroy has released a statement denying the abuse allegations, claiming that Mihlali sustained bruises when she made contact with the wall while he was trying to defend himself. He alleges that she found evidence that he had been unfaithful and went over to his house to confront him. He further alleges that Mihlali has a long history of physically abusing him and damaging his property, especially when she's under the influence of substances that he cannot name. He then went on to post screenshots of his call log, indicating that Mihlali called him 78 times on the day of the incident. Mihlali, on the other hand, has come out and said she has voice notes and recordings of Leeroy assaulting her, and that it was not the first time that he physically assaulted her. She also says she has endured verbal abuse from him for the past 2 years. She also admitted to calling him 78 times and having proof of his cheating and the assault. Now, unless you have been living under a rock for the past 2 years, most people are familiar with Mihlali and Leeroy's controversial relationship and how it started. The two started dating back in 2022, and it appeared that Leeroy was still married to his estranged wife, Mary Jane Sidambe. Since then, they have been having an on and off relationship. You may recall Leeroy's trip to Dubai with his friends, where he was seen kissing another woman on an Instagram live. It was in response to this apparent disrespect that Mihlali revealed that Leeroy had experienced financial issues when they were on their Mexico vacation, and Mihlali had to cover their expenses when Leeroy's card declined. As you can see, this man is a seasoned grifter. Now, I want to make it clear from the outset that the purpose of this video is not to pile on and judge Mihlali for her decision to date a married man. In all honesty, Leeroy is the one who was married and was supposed to honor the commitment he made to his wife, or at the very least, amicably end things with her before publicly moving on with another woman. Not to mention, Mihlali is still very young, guys. She's only 27 years old and was only 24 or 25 years old when she met this man. Justified as we are in condemning their relationship, none of us should come out here and act like we did not make questionable decisions at that age in our quest for love. The point of this video is to serve as a cautionary tale for other women who find themselves in the same position as Mihlali. That is, women who find themselves as the other woman in their dealings with a married man or a man who has a girlfriend or partner. The side chicks, so to say. You see, ladies, as flattering as it is to be on the receiving end of attention from a man who already has a partner, it's important to know that you cannot change people's nature. Not your beauty, not your curves, not your social status, not your money. None of those things can change the nature of someone who's a cheater and is abusive by nature. I know we go into these things thinking we are the exception. Oh, he'll change for me. He'll never do me like he did the woman he was with because she was this, she was that. She never did this for him, but I do. But trust me when I tell you, you cannot change someone whose nature it is to chase after every new shiny thing that catches their eye. You see, men like that are only interested in things that are out of reach for them. Once they've had that thing, the novelty wears off, they are bored, they feel like they have conquered you, and they are on to the next shiny new thing. They are like toddlers, basically. You could dangle a remote in front of a toddler while they are playing with their favorite toy, and they'll throw away their expensive toy and reach for the remote. Why? Because the remote is something else to play with other than their favorite toy. It's a different experience. You see, you start off as the shiny new thing while they are with their partner. They probably even tell you how you are the best thing that's ever happened to them, how you are so different from their previous partner, how you are the key to their happiness, and how they've just been waiting their whole life for someone like you. How you have been the missing piece in their life, and now that they have found you, they have become whole. Oh, none of that is true. And if it is, it's only momentarily true. You see, a person who hops from one relationship to the next is a person who's not well on the inside. There may be someone who's celebrated in society, someone with significant social status, money, the latest cars, branded clothes, you name it. But none of that can make up for the fact that a person has unhealed traumas dating back to their childhood. These traumas make them feel empty on the inside, dead on the inside, in fact, and they are constantly looking for external stimulation, constantly looking for the next high. It could be drugs for some, it could be alcohol for some, but for a lot of them, it's people, women. When you come across them and they put you on a pedestal, make you feel like the best thing since sliced bread, and they triangulate you with their partner, it can feel like you'll never experience the same fate that their current partner is facing. It's even worse if they actually leave their existing partners for you, because then you also experience the emotional high of being chosen over someone else. Then you feel like you must really be special for someone to leave their wife and children for you. You see, women who find themselves in the position of the side chick also have unhealed traumas that they work through partnering with other people's men. They are usually women who experience the pain of not being chosen in their childhood by one or both of their parents. This is why this behavior is prevalent amongst women who had absent fathers. If a dad did not stay and validate his daughter and chose to be somewhere else, to be with someone else, another family, his job, or whatever, it creates the trauma of not being chosen in a little girl. This little girl will grow up to become someone who targets men who are already partnered with someone else in an attempt to get them to leave their partner for them. You see, for women like this, if the man ultimately leaves their partner and chooses them instead, they feel like they have finally been chosen. The little girl who was not good enough for daddy to stay is actually good enough to make a man abandon his family to be with her. This all happens subconsciously, by the way. Even if a woman does not outrightly choose men who are partnered, they will still somehow always find themselves in dynamics like this. That is because subconsciously they are trying to heal the part of themselves that was not chosen as a little girl. So I want Mihlali and other women who find themselves in the same position as her to know that there is nothing wrong with you, my dear. By the same token, there is nothing so special about you that it places you above others and you become immune to facing the same fate that another woman has had to face as a result of your romantic involvement with her partner. You may quote unquote win the man, but as soon as the novelty wears off, he's not off to his next target. How a person treats others is how they will treat you, because that is who they are. According to Leroy's wife, Mary Jane, Leroy actually has a long history of being unfaithful in their marriage. So, as you can see, this is who he is. He was not mistreating his wife because there was something wrong with her. In fact, if anything, he probably appreciates her more now that she is out of his reach. If you remember the remote control analogy that I gave earlier. Yeah. A lot of people have come out to say that what Mihlali is experiencing is her karma for publicly getting involved with a married man. I don't particularly dispute that. We do live in a world of cause and effect. Every action has a consequence. But I think it's important that we don't dismiss violence and abuse that women experience as karma, particularly in a country like South Africa with a very high domestic violence rate. No one deserves to be on the receiving end of abuse, regardless of the questionable choices that they make. But by the same token, if you participate in the public humiliation of another person, it is only a matter of time before you find yourself in the same position. A man who has no problem betraying and publicly humiliating the mother of his children will make no exception when it comes to you. A man who has a known history of infidelity is not going to suddenly become faithful because he's dating one of the most sought after women in the country. People like that will never change unless life humbles them somehow. If they lose everything and hit rock bottom, that is when they will change. It is very rare for men like Leroy to take the initiative to do the work it takes to be a better man on their own. I recall an interview that Mihlali did where she said it was not her place to wait if Leroy was ready to move on with her, of which she wasn't wrong. But for those of you who do not know, spiritually, there are consequences for participating in a dynamic or situation that caused harm or caused pain to another. Spiritually, there are consequences for breaking up a family unit. The ancestors hold a family unit in very high regard. So they will be merciless when it's time to deal with all those who participate in its disruption, more especially the one who abandoned his family. That is why men like that tend to hit rock bottom and lose it all at some point, no matter how successful they seem at the moment. So, Leroy, my angel, your time is coming. It's for you, Mihlali, my dear. If you're watching this, pick yourself up, forgive yourself, and make better decisions moving forward. Kufundwa kanjalo empilweni. A lot of times we need to go through certain situations to learn from them and for others to learn from our mistakes.